Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to get into game number 2. The players are returning to the stage, and BLG are currently 1-0 up, which is where we expect them to be. And so far, we've already mentioned that this is a must-win series for them. They kickstarted game number 1 quite flawlessly.
I mean, a 28.5-minute victory is as clean as you would like from BLG. And yes, TOP showed some signs of life. They definitely showed some fight. There was some resilience evidenced in that roster. It was by no means even close to enough to getting a victory, unfortunately, for them in this game number 1.
I never thought that you could just use the BLG gift bags as a hat. That's a new one to me.
You ever watch cricket?
Yes, a couple of times.
Watermelon can be a hat. Fish, anything you want can be a hat as long as you will it to be so.
The people that go to cricket games are loose units in themselves, Rusty.
Be careful what you say next, Fish. I know a lot of them.
I know you do. I know a lot of them as well. And somewhere, Jake Spontieri is now looking down at me, being very upset.
Well, he's a bit of a melon. Anyway.
But we're about to get into the second match. We already mentioned TOP. They've been able to show some signs of strength. But every single time it just seems like BLG beat them to the punch. They know exactly what TOP are trying to do and just beating them at the game that they are best at.
And it's more about hitting the bigger punches, I think, as well. Like when you really highlight it, TOP were sometimes doing the first moves and sometimes it was working out for them. There are other times where BLG would go first and the exact opposite would happen, right? Where they would be doing very well. And it is worth noting that whoever was swinging first was actually connecting at the very least at the start of every skirmish and engage. But they weren't getting anything afterwards is TOP's problem. What was the objective that they were looking towards? And was it actually just a pick? Level 2, it was a blue buff that they attempted to steal, and I honestly think that XX was just trolling a little bit after he got it. Jumped into the enemy jungle, realized that there was nowhere to go. And then the game was partly over just then because Zoe got a kill in doubles.
Double buff for Zoe. Really early for Athena. We mentioned that that's his second game of playing Zoe. Didn't go towards the Z that was left over, but we'll touch on that later because TOP, every time they got a pick, as you mentioned, they didn't get anything from it. No objectives as well because BLG had either taken them away or they were not able to act on their win conditions. Like the Caitlyn in the bottom lane was constantly pushed underneath her turret.
And that's why you have to contrast it, right? When you look at BLG and their execution, they were diving the bottom lane turret and they were able to dive the bottom lane turret and quite simply it would work because they were looking for that objective. They were setting up for that objective and they were trying to dive that turret. If you're going to go for a pick in the jungle, that's fine. That's a good way to snowball you individually as a player. But when BLG were already snowballed, your plays have to get exacerbated just that little bit further. Perhaps try and accelerate, do something 5% more risky. Or make those plays and just fully acknowledge that you're going to lose turrets, not still fight for the defensive plays.
Let's see if BLG can change up moving into game number 2. This time they're on the blue side of Summoner's Rift. Whereas Bilibili game we'll be taking to the red side. Similar bans with Camille, Vladimir, and Sejuani. Taken away by TOP. BLG ban out the Kog'Maw, which was QiuQiu champion to pick up their last victory. And Tom Catch as well, taken away for Cat.
The Sejuani being taken away from SKS this time around, so the Jarvan hasn't been banned. Of course, TOP are on the blue side, so you'd expect it from BLG, and of course, there it is. But jungle is still left up and available, and I wonder if, once again, XX will just go towards his Kha'Zix.
But instead, they pick up Zoe first, denying that from Athena, and allowing Ggoong to pick it up in the mid lane.
Zoe's a pretty nice takeaway, to be honest with you. Athena's played it twice now. He's won twice with it, and he's looked outstanding on it. But going for that Zoe just leaves me, like, Ggoong better be very good at it, because by picking Zoe, you're giving over the Gangplank, you're giving over still potentially a Zir for Athena, and then you're also giving jungle pick as a priority to SKS over XX, and he can now pick up the Kha'Zix if he wants.
AmazingJ gets another Gangplank match for himself, picking that up to the top side map. Against Moyu had Gnar last game. It was the Gnar that was being pushed in. And it was the Gnar that was being dove at level 3 or 4, which is what we see teams trying to do to Gangplanks.
Okay, to be fair, I credit so much of that to XX, it isn't funny. He actually was having a very hard time on the Rift, and that translates to lanes directly. The amount of pressure that SKS was placing down is there we go.
Playing for the wrong team for a little bit, XX, but his champion gets taken away as Kha'Zix falls into the hands of SKS for game number 2.
And it's the Kha'Zix, the assassination available in the jungle role, the damage potential available in there, and you couple in a Gangplank ult, so they just locked that in second.
What? Riven picked up for Moyu on the top side map. Yes, Karen picked it at a Gangplank, but second pick for TOP. You said you wanted something 5% more risky. I think they've upped the ante here.
They just went 0 to 100 really. You reckon they're flexing?
Flexing the Riven.
Yeah, I reckon it's jungle.
Jungle Riven for XX.
Yeah, I reckon.
How does that work?
Early prediction. We're not going to talk about how that works until they've locked it, Fish. Let's not jump the gun here. That's definitely a far stretch of a strategy.
But we do know that Riven has been a pick that's picked up not only in the LPL, we saw Jinjiao play into a Gangplank to great success, but also it's been played in the LCK for the first time in a few years, I believe, and a Pentakill picked up by Khan when he got it. But aside of BLG, they lock in their final pick during the first draft phase, being the Ryze for Athena in the mid lane.
Of course, on the opposite side, the Caitlyn there for QiuQiu. As they go into the second ban phase, you'll note some jungle is still being banned by BLG, so they're not thinking the same way I am. It does seem like it's going to be going to Moyu if BLG's bans indicate anything. But on the opposite side, we mentioned the Caitlyn. It was picked early. AD carries once again able to be banned from Jinjiao. Kog'Maw's gone, and now they start to hit what's left.
Yeah, going to take away Jackson Rengar from the jungle for BLG, whereas Xayah is the ban from TOP. Denying Jinjiao that champion, BLG are able to get good lane priority with the Xayah Rakan combo in the last match.
Absolutely. Of course, it doesn't just remove half, it tends to remove the Rakan alongside that Xayah, something that just empowers Rakan to be picked into the meta. Similar bans, of course, to last game, but the exception of this champion has been swapped out for the Xayah.
As well as Ezreal still left up and available, BLG can pick whichever one they want to go towards with their first pick, allowing Road to pick last. Again, BLG just picking in order, making it nice and easy for everybody.
Good guy Garys, all of them. I do think that the Varus will get locked in as well here, Fish. It makes the most sense. Lane control, very good item spike timings. That would be, as timings go, perhaps a little bit accelerated over the likes of a Caitlyn, though you will be a lower range AD carry compared to your opponent. So the risk is there in the pick. We'll have to see how they execute and what support they want to put with it, because I'd expect something like the Braum to be seen.
TOP still have to pick up their top laner or jungler, as well as their own support. And it seems like it's going to be Riven heading into the top lane. We know that this is a counter pick against the Gangplank. He's got Gnar.
So Gnar's jungling?
Oh, no. What? Okay, I've just confused myself. It actually is a Riven and jungle, and somehow Rusty's been able to predict everything. I'm going to go off the casting desk and bring Raz or Dom over here, because what the heck is going on?
Got it early. That's all I'm saying. You've got to get in there early so your predictions have more substance. I just lost to a Riven jungle yesterday, that's why. I'll be honest with you.
You're basing your entire prediction on the LPL based off a Riven jungle you played against.
Well, I was playing on an LPL server, Fish. That makes a lot of sense. I still think that Riven jungle's a good champion. It's not just because I saw it there. It's more so that I know what it can do in the role. It jungles quite successfully, to be honest with you. The concern is usually on the gank. And then when you look at the lanes that it's been picked with, the Braum, we mentioned that earlier, now going to get locked in. Gnar in mega form and a Zoe in mid lane. I mean, that's very easy to gank for. That's a whole lot of damage that comes out of the jungle role now.
Completely bamboozled as Moyu will pick up another game of Gnar heading to the top side of the map. XX with the flashy pick. It's not going to be a 5% chance this time. As we mentioned, up the ante, looking to be a little bit more risky in this match against BLG. Trying something new here, which when you're 0-6 in the LPL, and a game down in this series, and a game where you're not the favorites, it's definitely something you can afford to do.
You can definitely try something. Anything would be a good idea when you are without a victory in a single set so far in the LPL. Now to finish off BLG's team composition as well, they picked the Shen for support to have the 2v2 down there. It's not quite the Braum that was taken away by TOP, but they still pick a tank. They still pick a tank that can roam around the map and can contribute. And if anybody in the support role in the LPL wants to do exactly that, it is Road. He loves a bit of a roam.
We already saw that in the last match, roaming into the mid lane whenever they were able to get priority with his Rakan, looking for picks against Ggoong especially. Now he's got the Shen, can also combo out with Kha'Zix picked up in the jungle, providing him that tankiness and utility that that we saw XX get in the last game from his Galio in the mid lane. Yes, this time coming from the support for BLG.
There's a couple of questions as well you'd have to think about coming into this game for BLG specifically, for Bilibili. Is, did they know that Riven was going to jungle? Do they know how the matchup works in the jungle? And did they even know that top lane could even flex it? Like, they were banning some very abstract champions in that second phase. A Jackson or Rengar, 2 junglers taken away. They had no idea it was going into the jungle. But with how confidently and how quickly that Riven was locked in for the draft of TOP, they knew where it was going. And they picked it with the jungler available and visible, as well as the top laner, of course, for both respective teams. And you know that Riven is a winning matchup into Gangplank. So I do think it was a complete bamboozling from TOP as the draft is concerned, saying that we're going to early rotate the counter to Gangplank, and then we're just going to use it to counter Kha'Zix instead, because we think we can duel against it in the 1v1. And my expectations for this Riven is that it's still used to counter the Gangplank, just from the jungle. He'll be top a lot.
I mean, they still have the Gnar picked up for top side map. It does well into Gangplank still, so they're not losing out on that hard counter Riven top side map by any means. And they now have Zoe in the mid lane, which you'd expect to get some priority over Ryze.
Only a little bit, however. Ryze has a whole host of kill threat on the Zoe. If the Trouble Bubble is ever used, if it ever misses, Ryze just steps up and delivers some pain. And of course, the Abyssal Mask is one of the items that Ryze can build, which helps so much through that laning phase.
It does. And then the final lane, you have to look towards this bottom side of the map. As, hello? AmazingJ already taking some damage. TOP going for an aggressive invade. He'll be able to get out of there. Doesn't have to use a summoner spell either. But bottom lane, Caitlyn and Braum picked up. Last time TOP picked up a Caitlyn, they did not get any lane priority whatsoever. Now we have to try and see if they can, because if they've got top side pushing in, they've got a Riven going up against a Kha'Zix and Zoe in the mid lane getting priority, they could have 3 pushing lanes in this match.
Yeah, you're going to be looking at the keystones for that bottom lane as well, prioritizing the Guardian keystone here for Cat on his Braum. Wants to be able to duel just that little bit better. Now, BLG, they've seen what's happened at level 1 Fish. They have a counterplay here, but all of TOP know this.
Yeah, it's going to be a 3-on-4 to kick things off unless Ryze can get there.
They've got the explosive plant. They can come in. They want Ggoong to leave. And when Ggoong leaves, they'll go.
Are they going to be able to get there to time? There's the delivery. They get on top of good damage. He flashes away, gets back out alive. XX going to take some damage from the red buff as well. Trouble Bubble connects on towards Ryze, but BLG, they get what they wanted. A couple of summoner spells, red buff resets.
But the trade continues, and junglers are a big threat here. The red buff's so important, and BLG have to run away. They're in trouble.
Spike gets tagged, and now it's going to be Shen that's in trouble. Trouble Bubble from Ggoong does not connect onto road on the support, so TOP successfully repel the invade that comes out from BLG.
And now each jungler has to go back to their own jungle and try and do it by themselves. And when you really put that into the scope of things, I'd probably much prefer to be a Kha'Zix than I would a Riven doing solo camps at level 1 when you've got a 13-odd second cooldown on your Q. And that's all you have to try and clear waves. Kha'Zix at least has isolation.
I mean, XX has gone straight back to base. He wants nothing to do with his jungle after having no leash and no potions available.
You have to actually, though, take into a perspective the whole map, not just the jungle here, Fish, and about what is really affected. Because, yes, I would rather be the Kha'Zix in this case. You can see him going buff to buff. Other things worth noting is that AmazingJ leveled W first because of the pressure on the top side, and so he had no threat in the top lane. Moyu now pushes in. Moyu now has control. Taunt was started from Road, which is still fair and normal for Shen supports, thankfully. But Athena started W, doesn't have Comet, so he has a lot less kill threat. But Ggoong also started with half health, so Athena was fine. And ultimately, BLG still win across the entire map except for top lane as an end result.
Well, let's see if TOP can try and make something work with this Riven, though, as Athena gets good trains in the mid lane. It was important to mention the Keystone Mastery that we just saw, because we know we see a lot of unsealed spellbook. There's 6 in this match, but it's very rare you see one picked up by a jungler. And XX has done just that.
Yeah, we've only seen a couple of them on jungles. You don't often see Riven firstly in the jungle, let alone taking the unsealed spellbook, and it does make you wonder if he's prioritizing the 25% summoner spell CDR on Smite or Flash. And you know how important it is for a Riven to have Flash for any kinds of engages, similar to that of a Gnar.
That's an aggressive dive from BLG. SKS flashes and jumps over the wall. They lock down Zoe nice and early.
Yeah, not only is it aggressive, it's massively successful. They get the kill, they get out, no problems whatsoever. XX is just left to try and clear some camps on the backside of it. Very well done from the Kha'Zix of Bilibili.
And already helping out Athena maintain control over that mid lane. Haven't seen too much of XX just yet. Still trying to farm around. SKS has been very proactive on this Kha'Zix early into the match.
XX wants the duel, though. He wants the 1v1. He's trying to pick it. They are going to find each other, but top lane's more important first.
Moyu's going to go mega here. We'll be able to get good damage onto AmazingJ, constantly keeping him underneath this turret, which is much better from the Gnar matchup coming into game 2.
Meanwhile, musical chairs on the bottom side of the map.
What are these two doing?
They're doing the tango.
Well, XX is going to be spotted out by the Rift Herald that was taken down.
Both
they
have
same
Smite.
level. Cat is here though. Road is here, so it's a 2-on-2. Jumps in, will be picked up by SKS, and he just hops away. Kha'Zix does get the help from his support, but Road was there to taunt them up and make sure that his jungler is safe in taking his camps.
Big victory in the end, being the Smite battle one, as well as the Scuttle Crab being taken by SKS earlier. So he has much more gold with the first kill. He has much more experience with not only the kill, but the jungle camps being taken for himself. And that starts to really press the issue of how far behind Riven will then start to fall. Needs to go back and start doing her own camps as soon as possible.
AmazingJ with the RNG pops 2 of his money bags and gets 210 gold from it. Mid lane, you can always see Ggoong playing a little bit more passive here against Athena, waiting for the Ryze to push back out, not actively stepping up to the minion waves. Teleport used by AmazingJ to get towards top side of the map as early as he can. Shen is already complete for him.
And that's in part the matchup in the middle lane, like you mentioned as well, Fish, with Ggoong being more passive. He has to. The only way you can win this matchup is by using your Q range advantage and not letting him snare you down. If he does snare you, he gets a shield because you'll do the 3-spell combo, and then he wins the trade no matter how much damage you do to him. So you're looking at maybe level 7 for Ggoong when he starts the trade more aggressively, and until then, especially because he's died, he's pretty much just lost mid lane.
He's also a level behind at the moment, so proactive plays from SKS turns mid lane back in BLG's favor and gives them a winning matchup, because so far top lane has been pushed in by Moyu, and although BLG's bottom lane is fairly even, that has been constantly pushed in by QiuQiu this time on the Caitlyn.
Well spotted ward from the scrying placement there of SKS as well to find it. Very secretive placements, and now junglers.
Kha'Zix gonna get jumped on. SKS gets the initial burst of damage even through the stun that Riven threw down.
And unfortunately, Unsealed Spellbook doesn't stop you from getting electrocuted. SKS has the offensive keystone. He's able to use it offensively and comes up very successful.
It's Moyu going aggressive against AmazingJ here. Fancies his chances. Does have SKS waiting in the wings just in case AmazingJ gets into any trouble, but forces the ultimate out of Gangplank.
Trades ultimates in the end. Well done from Moyu. I guess he didn't have the wallop available, so didn't look towards a second form of crowd control after using the ultimate. Only just barely scuffed the Gangplank to pull him in as well. But they trade. And the ultimate being gone from Gangplank's a little bit less global pressure to the side of Bilibili.
With teleport down as well for for BLG and TOP means that there's not too many globals on the map besides Unsealed Spellbook swapping out summoner spells. But it's been fairly quiet. Not as much action as we saw in the first match. Only in that level 1 skirmish, as well as the single kill to be able to pick up on the dive onto Ggoong.
We have noticed from XX though, Fish, that even though there's no action, he's trying his hardest to cause action to happen. He is absolutely everywhere.
It's not getting anything though. BLG playing around the Riven, it seems.
SKS winning his Smite battles too. The real MVP is that's a teleport in from the bottom lane. No one freak out.
Right into a trap, and Shen just says, you know what, that does no damage. Another trap there. Rose steps in it like a good guy support.
The real MVP. I respect that.
QiuQiu has his own Unsealed Spellbook, so he can return. Cat cannot do the same, however. Both bottom laners for BLG. Jinjiao and Road picking up Minion Dematerializer. So making sure that they can push against the Caitlyn as well as Braum combo.
I really like that into Caitlyn specifically as well, not just into the combo, but if you're playing against a Caitlyn, she starts pushing you in, and the biggest problem that you'll often have against Caitlyn is how quickly she will push in and start to threaten structures. If on a cannon wave you both use your Dematerializer and you remove that entire wave, that's usually the wave that a Caitlyn will push down your structures. Cannon just unlocks a lot of potential for dealing damage to them. So really respect that from the side of BLG. I think it's super aware to the matchup, and they change things up with what they want to have in runes.
And so for holding on fine, BLG in the bottom lane, they got the earlier recall as well as the teleport back in, which gives them priority over this Infernal Dragon. Cat has spotted it out, but XX is nowhere to be seen, so easy Infernal picked up by BLG.
Expertly timed from them as well, knowing that the blue buff was going over to the mid lane of TOP. The Zoe will pick that up, but wards also spot them going there. And so the free Drake to be secured from that knowledge of vision that they have. Vision is power after all.
On top of that, they give Athena blue buff after they pick up the Infernal Dragon. Ggoong still looking to try and go aggressive against this Ryze, but it's not working out for him. So BLG again in a very comfortable spot. The onus is on TOP almost to start making these proactive plays, but they're currently 1,000 gold behind. With all the vision that you mentioned BLG have placed down, it just seems like they're able to track XX's every move.
Now you will say, speaking of XX, that kill threat is available around the level 6 mark. They saw this ward placed, so he is able to dodge that one out.
He snuck around as well.
Very sneaky-like. He's level 6 kill threat, especially with Cat going onto this minion.
There goes Cat jumping in. That's an immediate flash coming out from Jinjiao, and Road will shortly fall. Ultimate thrown down by Varus keeps him locked in, and SKS wants to join this fight. XX has taken so much damage, and forces Cat to jump in and throw up the door, making sure he can protect him. But Summoner Spell's burnt in the bottom lane. Hello.
Take that. They force the trade of Summoner Spells. You are absolutely correct. Actually, none have to be used by TOP, so a big win. Of course, Cat had a minion to jump towards when he used the ultimate and that. But ultimates were, in fact, still used down there. Riven has a lot less kill threat without the ultimate available, so he'll be upset about this one, XX. BLG will just be happy that they're still alive, but the first opportunity to come in and siege the structures is now evidenced.
And that's really what we've been criticizing TOP for in game number 1. Yes, they're able to get those picks, they're able to find those advantages, but... Ouch.
You can't throw spells out like that when you're asleep.
Never have we seen TOP use his advantages to take more than just the pick itself. So now's the time to see if they can use the flashes down on BLG's bottom lane to push for something. But Unsealed Spellbook, man. 25% cooldown reduction. Those will be back up pretty quick.
Yeah, but of course. Thankfully, the rune exists that enables them to have those up sooner rather than later. But there's still that window of opportunity. They should be able to make plays down there if they choose. Moyu also defending a ward with his teleport means that they won't probably be looking for a dive down in the bottom lane. AmazingJ has the ultimate, so whilst they both don't have teleports, more pressure is probably there for BLG. That means the TOP have to be careful. They have to respect. And opportunities now for BLG on the counter offense to move forwards.
And TOP will teleport back into a top side map. AmazingJ does the same, so BLG, again, very comfortable. They can play this one so. They can scale into the late game, and they already have a gold lead with Infernal Dragon to continue scaling up and just waiting out anything TOP try to throw at them.
We've also got big item spikes now for the AD carry. It's an Infinity Edge for QiuQiu, but it's also the Quinzu's Rage Blade for Jinjiao. He's gotten through that awkward speed hump phase of the item build where you have to have a blasting wand. Now he is ready to actually blast people with his flaming sword.
On top of that, Rod of Ages picked up by Athena to go with his tier. It's only really top side of the map that just has their components, as Moyu still will trade aggressively against AmazingJ anytime he can. Constantly keeping him pressured underneath his turret. Has picked up a CS lead for himself, but Kleptomancy's a thing as well as the Gangplank, so he's going to be perfectly fine in his current position.
Yeah, he's also using his ultimate off cooldown, Moyu, just to poke, but AmazingJ's also shifted his itemization choices. He's gone towards Jarum's Fist to be tanky, and so there's no real chance that Moyu's going to kill him. Just using the ultimate to poke so that he can push lane seems to be the end goal and prevent AmazingJ from leaving that lane. This does give opportunities to the opposite side of the map. You're seeing it now from XX. He's in the bush. He's ready for action.
Gank. Jinjiao already at half health.
Road cannot afford to go forward.
They're jumping in instantly on top of Jinjiao. Road uses his ultimate, but that's not enough. XX going to get that kill, and TOP come back to pick off what they started. And they're going to try and attempt to take first turret as well.
They do look towards the objective, like you mentioned before, Fish. They find the way to get back in and look for it, but they are so afraid of the rest of BLG that are here. It makes you wonder if they're going to stay around and try and get it on the next wave. Mostly because Ryze was gone, and he's just revealed himself, so opportunity is now definitely present for TOP. They should keep pushing.
Yep, no teleport available for the top laners. Means it's going to be difficult, but Gangplank's ultimate is going to trim out this wave, so BLG lose the AD carry, but they're still able to defend their bottom lane outer turret. In fact, Jinjiao not opting to keep on his hold on to his teleport. We'll swap out for cleanse this time round.
Ouch. AmazingJ is also going to have to go back and doesn't have the ultimate to keep himself there, nor does he have the teleport. Now, we mentioned a couple of minutes ago that no teleports in the top laners did give Gangplank the slight advantage by having the global ultimate. Well, that was used, and that actually prevents the turret from falling down. So BLG's team composition helps them out a whole lot with defending their bases after the aggressive moves, proactive decisions from TOP. That's really good as an end result for buying them time, but it buys them nothing other than time.
And again, still playing this one very patiently, BLG, not forcing anything. In fact, a teleport being used by Shen and Jinjiao to get up to the top lane instead.
He just swapped his flash out for teleport.
Yep, so Jinjiao now has teleport cleanse on Varus.
That's how badly they want this turret. They want it so badly that he doesn't care if he has a flash or not. And Riven's just looking at him. There's just a giant target above his head right now saying, kill me. And it's a Riven. You know he wants to. He's
not going to be able to get his flash up for some time as well because he already swapped out 2 spells. His Ggoong sides has as many spells as he can from Athena. The fancy shoes from Zoe.
Of course, Athena is maxing his E, so there was still a lot of damage being put down onto Ggoong, but no kills. The damage amplification that it was going to be there for the Q connecting. All of them dodge, so very well done from the mid laner of TOP. Survives. Doesn't mean he's winning lane, though. It still means that BLG have found a strategy. They've implemented the strategy. They get a turret. They control mid lane. They have access to the Herald. They just suddenly get everything they want.
Yep. And we get top lane and bottom lane turret taken down. One by BLG, one by TOP. BLG now are going to look to see if they can take Rift Herald for themselves. Try and open up the map, try and get even more advantages for their team.
Of course, random fact about the Herald is it's better to hit the eye closer to 2,000 health. Otherwise, it doesn't come back. The eye doesn't open up once it goes below 2,000. So if you're in a smite battle, someone's pressuring it, save it to get closer to the 2,000 mark and then smite with hitting the eye.
Meanwhile, TOP, they see the Rift being taken. They see that BLG have the advantage on the top side of the map. Move towards bottom lane. They're going to pick up an Ocean Dragon for themselves. Equalizing the Elemental Dragons picked up. And TOP only 1,000 gold behind BLG at the moment.
That's not bad. As the gold stands, of course, you're looking at a Caitlyn with a completed item wanting to start sieging. A Braum to empower that. The Ocean Drake helps with prolonged sieges for the side of TOP. But the Infernal Drake helps BLG say, not today.
XX goes in to try and get a steal, doesn't get it.
He just straight up lost the trade and ulted. SKS could not lose a smite battle. It is impossible for him to lose a smite battle. It's written in the scriptures.
I'll hold you to that one, if he loses a smite battle now. Well, hopefully he doesn't, for your sake. Because
now you're just holding it to me. You could have just let it be.
No, you came up with the Riven prediction. I'm not going to let that go.
Okay.
But BLG,
I can't argue.
BLG are going to hold on to the mid lane outer turret. Varus as well as Shen sitting in the mid lane against QiuQiu's Caitlyn as well as Cat's Braum. Being a little bit aggressive here against Ro, but they're not going to get too much out of it, just other than some chip damage. Ggoong's rotated in, throws out Sleepy Trollball, misses it, and just jumps on top of Ro's head, thinks he can fight him. That's
just the ignite as well. Just throws down the random ignite that he found earlier on the ground. Pressure out Road a little bit more. And now he's going to bed one more time.
Oh, is he going to get it? Gets good damage as well.
Good angle from Ggoong. Not sure if the Shadow Dash was going to happen, but still connects to it very quickly. So good reactions. There's more pressure. Road just can't catch a break. Let him be.
All he wants to do is go home. Have dinner with his family. TOP just not letting him. They're still going to maintain pressure. And this is what we didn't see from their Caitlyn pick. Not able to siege structures. But now TOP have been able to use it effectively to do just that. They took down bottom lane turret. They're looking to chip away at mid lane turret as XX and SKS spot each other.
I actually think he might be looking to summon the Herald on the top side of the map there, but Ryze chooses to go back to base, and I think that's just a result of SKS finding XX at the jungle camp and saying, oh, well, no, we're not taking this fight. And that was a good opportunity for them. Jinjiao should also be swapping out his teleport for Flash soon.
Nah.
I'll have to see if he chooses to do that because he's got a chance to recall right now as the Caitlyn recalled.
Teleport cleanse, that's the way to be as an AD carry. Live life dangerously, but he is going to swap something out if he has the charges. Remember, he used 2 to make that swap earlier. He might not have them back up just yet.
He shouldn't have 2 charges, but he should be able to swap the teleport for Flash.
Let's see if he can. Still holding onto it and still in base. Seems like he's waiting for a couple more items first. Not able to. No charges available for Varus just yet.
This is tragic.
BLG may have to hold out a little bit longer while Varus doesn't have that summoner spell. Very low mobility AD carry.
You know how there was that target on his head before for the Riven? Well, now XX has Flash available as well. The target is growing larger and it's more enticing by the second.
You get out of the stun, does have Road to mitigate some of the damage that comes out from auto attacks with the dodge field. But for now, he's just sitting quietly in the mid lane. SKS is here, throws down Rift Herald, trying to help out BLG with this push.
Ryze has the inside track, but XX is already here, and they are looking to pressure because they want to get the turret at least chunked. A full health Herald charge might actually just one-hit the structure here.
Ultimate did come out from Jinjiao, trying to lock down a couple of members, and they deal with Rift Herald quite efficiently. They do get good damage onto the mid lane outer turret, but it doesn't fall.
Too many people there in the end to try and look for it, as Gnar is mega.
He's
Doesn't
angry.
quite find the target, however.
But SKS has again snuck behind enemy lines in the Kha'Zix. Looking for an attempt to assassinate someone. Athena's going to use this time to steal blue buff away from TOP. And TOP, another one's on the offensive again. Pushing down mid lane inner. Ryze is going to try and jump behind. XX is behind enemy lines as well. QiuQiu is still fine, but there's SKS. Does he find him? No, XX uses his stun, doesn't find him. Pops the stopwatch, double stopwatch from TOP bottom lane to keep them alive. Now TOP low health bars, trying to retreat. SKS trying to shepherd them into this choke point. Jumps back in while invisible. Gets the ultimate of Shen to find one. QiuQiu will walk away with a little bit of health remaining. Picks up the fruit. And TOP go for the siege. It doesn't work out for them.
They do scrape their way out here, though, TOP. However, BLG, with a turret they've prepared earlier from the Herald, could siege it. They could threaten the siege, but they've just gone completely missing up the river. TOP should be so aware of this fact. This is so risky by BLG, but they've fully committed themselves to it.
20-minute Baron does a lot of damage, but they've already got it down below 2,000 health. Ggoong looking to try and jump in. Paddle Star, not enough. AmazingJ is fairly low, and he's going to flash immediately out of the pit to get out of there, but still Baron buff pick up for BLG, turning a single pick into a massive objective.
Super clean take from them in the end. Yes, the flash was used by AmazingJ, but the rest of the team just walk away. We get to see what happens in this fight as well. XX is the man to look towards because he knows SKS is here and just misses it. And then the Kha'Zix is able to come in, burst them out, jump away. He's going to come in a second time as Rhodes able to relic shield his way back up to health. But because of the second time he comes in, that's where the kill's secured onto the man who made the mistake earlier, alongside Athena, who plays very well on the Ryze in this fight. That's the disengage. And straight to the Baron. Even though TOP knew they were there doing it, they took it so quickly with a Gangplank. And a Varus with Jinjiao doing so much work.
Got SKS as well, the isolated damage helping out significantly with the Baron take. Let's go. SKS played that fight phenomenally, but XX, he went for that blind prediction. Hurt him in the end there. If he got it, would have been a big outplay.
But I mean, he didn't need to do it. You don't need to predict someone when they're invisible coming in. You could have waited for them to reveal themselves. You've got a composition that can kill the Kha'Zix quickly. Just know that you're hitting your mark. Don't try and be someone exceptionally skilled and do the impossible when the regular was effective in that instance.
Yeah, I don't think TOP quite heard you. You said 5%, they upped the ante, now they're doubling down with this Riven pick. Even trying to go for blind predictions doesn't work out, and BLG are just tearing apart the map. Already 3,000 gold up here. Still pushing with Baron buff in multiple lanes. Athena down the bottom side of the map against Ggoong. 2 levels up on this Ryze, 10 stacks on the RA with Serap's Embrace complete as well. He'll be dealing a truckload of damage as BLG group up as 3 throughout the mid lane, keeping SKS in between in the jungle.
Oh, he's just lost his Mega Gnar, so he's got a lot of pressure onto AmazingJ, but he can't engage. He can't actually kick off a team fight. Flash is not far available though from XX to image.
No, it is not. As again, QiuQiu just throwing down the ultimate ace in the hole off cooldown, just poking away a couple people. TOP do have the advantage of shoving out top lane with Moyu, so there's no 3-prong attack from BLG, but bottom lane, inner, and outer both fall. BLG now pushing for the mid lane turret as XX jumps in, gets a good amount of damage down, but he's the one that gets turned around on by BLG. Cleanse used by Jinjiao gets him out of the stun, and now BLG look to try and push towards the mid lane inner turret.
And unfortunately, the Riven is not proving to be too useful right now, with Jinjiao having the cleanse, getting out of the stun, and also just having Rhodes level 11 Shen, so level 2 in the ultimate, able to help sustain him through that, and Jinjiao just stands and delivers the pain. Riven can only go one direction. Unfortunately, that direction proves costly for his life. BLG now threatened 2 lanes at once. Zoe's now needed for bottom.
And as soon as Zoe leaves, you can expect BLG to start pushing in towards mid lane even more aggressively. SKS upgrades the spikes. He's going to be able to get some good damage down there, making sure he constantly pokes away at TOP. However, they decide to back away and take what they've already picked up. 5,000 is the gold lead for BLG at the moment, making their way towards top side of the map now.
Big power play for the Baron. You'll be very happy with that influx of gold for Bilibili. A whole bunch of money to spend, and I think with 20 seconds left on that Baron buff, they've made the correct call, and they've made the cautious call. Amusingly, of course, after making the Baron call and having it be successful, which is the risky call, we do see some reservations from them, and something that I really respect from BLG.
Well, there were signs of life from TOP in the early game. We saw them trying to take advantage of their winning lanes, trying to take advantage of this unique Riven pick, but a good team fight again from BLG is what turns the game heavily in their favor. Even though they led throughout most of it, that team fight was still phenomenal to watch. In fact, Jinjiao looking to try and lock down TOP's QiuQiu. He does have the cleanse this time round though. Multiple members of BLG are now looking to try and siege this mid lane.
Everyone has a cleanse in 2018, Fish. Everyone. Supports have cleanses here and there as well. Everyone gets a spell book, so everyone gets a cleanse.
Welcome to the League of Spellbook, but they may have caught our road here. Will Shadow Dash away from his dodge zone, and Paddlestar is not going to go long enough, but he's stunned up. QiuQiu with good damage again. Paddlestar is good, puts him to sleep again. That must be frustrating.
He's on a 2-hour nap cycle. It's a very hipster thing at the moment.
What the heck?
Oh, it's your turn.
Yeah, so just goes through terrain and Jinjiao gets chunked out by the Paddlestar.
Oh no.
Oh, he's found him. He got the kill.
My
TOP
God,
get the pick, and now they're going to continue chasing down the rest of BLG. Locking down Rhoda again. Ggoong cannot miss with these sleepy trouble bubbles. TOP get 2 picks, and they're still going for more. Athena and SKS not in a great position here. Moyu was looking to try and get them. Trouble bubble cuts off the choke point. Athena's trying to run. Does have flash. No ultimate available. Blast Cone gets him back to safety. What the heck? Zoe's the champion.
Ggoong just has a loudspeaker playing Samuel L. Jackson's bedtime stories, and everybody's going to sleep right now. There is no escaping the sleepy trouble bubble. He's an absolute nuisance. We have to watch the first one. Good night.
He chunks him out, and it's QiuQiu picks up the kill.
And then, yeah, QiuQiu probably just flashes forward. Hits the crit of all things as well.
Good players crit more, and QiuQiu gets one.
He's no Raid Air, but he's a very good crit player.
As Moyu has found himself in some trouble. Athena's going to take his ultimate. No, he doesn't.
He knows there's no chance. Good jukes from Moyu with no health, though. So he's going to have to go back to base. BLG lost a bit of a trade there. Let's put it that way. They got a kill. That's nice from TOP. And then you look at the scoreboard and you're like, well, what did it really amount to?
Nothing.
Yeah, I didn't mean anything, unfortunately.
QiuQiu upgraded his Zeal. He now has 3 crit items complete, which is the core build for Caitlyn. But that's about it, really. It's still 5,000 goldie for BLG, and it's again the criticism of TOP get picks. This time they got 2.
Well, in this case, there was no chance for them to do anything after the pick. There was no Baron, there was no Drake, and they were stuck in the confines of their own base behind their turret. So what the pick gave them was a chance, and that's the real takeaway from it as well. They've pushed the lanes out. You can see what happens when someone dies is the lanes are closer to equal. TOP aren't stuck at their turret, but they do still have to win another team fight to get the objective, and then another team fight to take the base of BLG. And so far, that second step is proving to be very difficult.
Well, even trades are good when you are behind, and trades up like we saw from TOP with those picks are even better, but XX is being caught out. His AmazingJ now gets the kill, and even though Ggoong puts someone to sleep, that's their jungler gone. Means that BLG can try and look for these team fights. AmazingJ leading the charge. Moyu's about to go mega. They have to be careful. AmazingJ goes down low, but Athena in the back lines. Gets on top of QiuQiu. Good damage down. Moyu's going to lock him down, however. Serves a break, keeps him alive, uses the Zoni's outcast to go into stasis. And BLG with even more picks, but low health bars means Ggoong can go to town, throwing out Paddlestars left, right, and center, trying to protect those low health members. Ace in the Hole's going to come out. TOP still just being a nuisance, but it is BLG to get the double pick as well as mid lane in the turret.
Yeah, Ggoong chooses to walk away to try and defend his base, control the minion waves perhaps a little bit more, and it means that BLG are able to just walk away. And now they walk to the Baron. Yes, they are on vision, but I believe this is on purpose. They think they can do it quick enough. And my God, that goes quickly.
That is incredibly quick. Already 3,000 health. Ggoong, get the heck out of there. There's no way you're going to be able to contest for that. And Jinjiao just turns around. He's going to go to sleep. Cleanses away from it. Paddlestar comes out and gets good damage down, but only 4 members from TOP are looking to try and chase for this one.
Road may have to die, but he's actually just going to get out there by dodging the trouble bubble. Well done from the support of BLG. And it looks like they're going to get the Baron. They're going to recall cleanly. Just don't count XX out for doing something crazy.
They found him. Doesn't stop them. They're all going to get out in time with the help of empowered recall. So TOP, they make a couple of picks for themselves. They lose their jungler. The Riven pick, unfortunately, not working out for them so far.
No, 3-5 is the scoreline. There's only been 8 kills in this game, and we've already dragged on longer than game number 1 was for a BLG victory, amusingly enough, but it's a bit cleaner from them this time around. Yes, they've still made some mistakes here and there, getting caught out of position specifically by a Zoe. That is kind of just Zoe things. This is nasty.
Going one-on-one against Moyu. Moyu forced to use the ultimate, and Gangplank throws down his cannon barrage. SKS is looking to hunt him down, gets the isolation damage. Clean pick from BLG.
It's TOP's turn to see what sleep looks like. He gets put to bed. SKS with a bunch of burst on the Kha'Zix again. The electrocute able to aid in the burst. Throwing out the W, which usually doesn't feel like kill threat, actually is. When you're proccing electrocute as Kha'Zix now, a nice little bonus of the runes.
And Moyu not sent for a quick nap either. That's going to be 30 more seconds that he's asleep as BLG look to try and push for that advantage. They still have Athena split pushing. SKS still trying to be a nuisance in the jungle. They're still grouping up as 4 with Baron buff to play. 2 minutes left in that buff. Bottom lane inhibitor turret has been chipped out slightly by Athena from his earlier pushes. Jinjiao denies red buff as well.
And the same lanes as before from BLG with their prior Baron are going to be sieged on, are going to be pushed in towards 4 mid, 1 bottom. They're going.
For a fight. Jinjiao throws down the ultimate. The door has been put back down for Cat, so can't protect the rest of his team. Trouble Bubble is good onto AmazingJ, but he eats an orange somehow while he's in his sleep, and he's okay. Big
Ryze
fan of the sleepwalking Gangplank.
With his Q thrown out in the perfect posture. That's, yeah, look, it's good to be Gangplank when you can just eat oranges out of anything that you choose. Somehow, whilst asleep, you can put an orange into your mouth and consume said orange. But they're still pushing bottom at the meanwhile. They've brought 2 people down there to deal with Athena's onslaught on the structures. And bam, BLG start threatening mid lane. Now they show up mid, and it's Ryze's turn to try and go bottom. What BLG actually need to do here, which they aren't, is time their minion waves just that little bit better. You don't have to hard push minions as you see them. You can just kind of let them sit.
But they are going to brute force bottom lane, bringing everyone down here, not going for the split anymore. XX, very low. Gangplank ultimate's going to try and separate the rest of TOP, so they've finally broken through the base, and bottom lane inhibitor is now under siege for BLG.
They're going mid lane with a cannon.
FedEx delivery system brings all the minions over as well. BLG will get 2 inhibitor turrets, now pushing for their 2nd inhibitor, as Ggoong does get locked down as he jumps back through the portal, takes a lot of damage, forces him out of the fight.
Very well done here from BLG, from Athena specifically, getting a lot of pressure, aiming for the targets, and this is one of the reasons that Ryze is such a good pick into Zoe. She jumps forwards, you know exactly where she's going, and then you can combo your spells and always hit the combo. And so just like that, they threaten, they get 2 inhibs, they get another turret, and that gold lead has just gone from 5k, and it has ballooned.
Yeah, but it's now close to 14. I was close to 15, sorry, 15, 12,000.
There you
I can't
go.
do math anymore.
Nice. It's a number higher than 10 and less than 15.
Unlucky.
That's that's the difference, Fish. There you go, mate.
But still, massive lead for BLG now. And again, they're in territory where they feel most comfortable, where they can siege up, have the gold advantage, and look for big brawls against TOP. TOP are a team that, you know, they like very similar things to BLG, but they don't like doing it when they are behind.
It's super easy for BLG with that advantage to do exactly what they do best. And we mentioned this at the start of the day, Fish, that I know Raz said on the analyst desk as well. They'll probably team fight. BLG are very good at team fighting. They always want to hit late game, 30-odd minutes, and try and find a good 5v5. And if they're ahead, then they can close out that game super successfully. Doing so, when they're behind, they're most likely going to do the same thing. Well, TOP are taking a page from the Bilibili gaming book in that regard, and they do love themselves a good bit here and there as a 5v5.
Massive items to be complete by the side of BLG, though. SKS takes a bit of damage, but he's fine. But you're looking against a 5-item Gangplank. A Rabadon's Death Cap complete for Ryze, for champions as well. BLG just incredibly strong. No Baron buff to work with, but this is the last turret to siege. Makes it much easier for them.
Gets popped, he can't actually ult forwards anymore. If there's any world where he ults forwards, he's still trying to max range his paddle star. Trades are nigh on impossible for Ggoong as Zoe is too far behind.
Now just trying to see where do TOP put up their last stand. QiuQiu in trouble. There's the ultimate coming from Gangplank, forces him to flash away. Athena doesn't join the fight, but Jinjiao, he's perfectly fine. He's got a Riven sitting on top of him, and he's not than happy to take the trade. Pops the Guardian Angel. Meanwhile, Athena reckons he can go 1-on-3. Absolutely think he can at the moment. Level 18 on this Ryze. Cat's 13, XX is 14. No way they can put up a fight. He's trying to just push down the next turrets all by himself.
He doesn't just think it, he can at the moment. Look how respectful TOP are of Athena in this mid lane. Level 18, Ryze is obnoxiously strong.
Have to
and
be.
Now they threaten.
Top lane inhibitor turret is going to fall. Inhibitor will be taken down shortly after. BLG wrecked the base of TOP, and they're still trying to put up this last stand. Cat leading the charge as well. Whenever he gets that shield up, protects the team from as much damage as BLG can throw out before a team fight starts. And still just waiting. Ggoong looking to try and go for the picks. Takes some damage from Athena every time he uses that portal jump. Slowly, Jinjiao will be able to chip away this one. XX doesn't have the ultimate, can't quite jump in anymore. Cat, well, that shield will eventually fall and can't protect the rest of the team, and BLG get that final inhibitor.
They wanted to defend that so desperately, TOP, but they were just never able to hit the mark when it comes to a fight or a counter engage of some variety. Athena had cleanse. Jinjiao used his cleanse last time they tried. AmazingJ has oranges. You can just press W and be perfectly fine as well. And the avenue of engagement for TOP is double layered. They have to engage, get a cleanse, and then engage again. There's only so much they can do when everyone's just kiting back from Bilibili.
Well, it's not a good situation for TOP, but this is exactly what we wanted out of BLG. In this match, middle of the pack team sitting closer towards the upper side of the table against dead last in the opposite conference. This is a best of 3 series that BLG definitely wanted to win and had to win clean. And they're going to try and kick that started with a pick onto XX. Caught wandering inside of his own jungler.
He definitely was just wandering. I don't know if there was a specific purpose other than wandering. He wanted to maybe get a ward around Baron, but it's that stage in the game where even if you go to Baron and try and ward it, the best you can get is the Miracle Steal, and then BLG are like, sweet, 4v5, we'll win anyway.
Oh, chill. He's getting caught out by the FedEx delivery system from Athena. 2 picks now for BLG. They're just going to march towards Nexus.
Yeah, I think they're just going to end the game here. Fish way too far ahead, and they've got the minions to do it.
Oh, Ggoong's trying to do what he can, but what he can is just not enough. You can already see that Moyu and Cat, they're zoned away from their own fountain. And with that, BLG take down the Nexus. A clean 2-0 for them over TOP.
A little bit longer than game number 1 for BLG, but length of game does not matter when the cleanliness was still there, and that's what we said coming into this set. You want a good, clean 2-0 victory from Bilibili up against TOP, who are yet to find a win themselves. Now, still smiles, of course, on the face of TOP. It hits a point in your career where you're like, well, we're used to losing. Nothing's really changed for us in this case, and they tried something different. They tried to pick themselves a Riven, innovate just a little bit, and ultimately, none of it proved successful.
Well, I'll touch on that in a second, but signs of life from TOP at least. They executed bits and pieces of their team composition, but again, just couldn't gel it all together. And you mentioned they had to do something a little bit more risky. The Riven pick was one of it, but it just seems like they went over the top with this interesting pick.
Yeah, and the Riven didn't really get to do anything in the game, and it's not that Riven was the problem, so to speak, in the draft, but it was definitely a problem because it could have been any other champion. I think that's something that you'd have to look towards if you're TOP with your drafting. Though I loved the concept of it. I will admit that. Of course, picking Riven into the Gangplank once it's already been revealed, and then bamboozling your opponents with it flexed into the jungle role.
It was also a good game number 2 from SKS. Yes, BLG were pretty clean with game number 1, but SKS was missing quite a few of his skill shots in the first match. Game number 2, however, played really well in the Kha'Zix, got that big skirmish going for his team in the mid-game. Did not lose a smite battle.
2 from 2. You had to hold it to me, so I get to gloat briefly.
Oh, it's okay, but when he loses one throughout the rest of the split,
well, that's
you're done.
Totally what I said, wasn't it?
That he will never lose a smite.
Yeah, in this
never.
Set.
Oh,
okay.
There was no
sure,
set.
never. Let's go with never. He's never going to lose. SKS is the best smiter to ever smite.
Ooh, now I want to watch him play against Condi. Let's see what happens there. But it is going to be BLG with the 2-0 pickup. Very clean, and we've touched on this. It's just clinical from them, and they have very similar, very similar playstyles to TOP. BLG just did it much better this time around.
Yeah, in a battle of the team fighters, of course, you find who comes out victorious. I think a lot of this does stem from the draft for TOP. It's something that they'll have to look at. Not just the Riven pick, but the high priority they have on the bottom lane if it's not winning. They want to draft to maybe even be more successful through the jungle role. Maybe even have a top laner that, whilst Moyu was winning, that can leave lane more successfully. Just get rid of the Gangplank is usually your number 1 step here. You come into the ban phase, it's like, yes, I can pick against the Gangplank to have a winning matchup, but isolating the matchup, Gangplank still wins in the end.
Yep.
And if you want to help your jungler because he's constantly invading, just don't have the Gangplank there and go help your jungler invade.
Yeah, 2 games in a row, AmazingJ picks up one of his signature champions of the Gangplank on the top side of the map, and BLG just kind of got a lot of very powerful picks going into each and every single match because tons of target bans thrown their way. But no Azir seen 2 games in a row.
It's still
a
there.
Bit weird.
Yeah, look, it's still there. It's still available. Athena's got his most played champion in the back pocket. One of his MVP picks still for himself as well. I think Athena had a very good set and shows that he's got a depth in his champion pool.
He did. He picked up Zoe in game number 1 and had a really good game on Ryze in game number 2. But to break down that series a little bit further, let's send it back to the analyst desk.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Another great set out of Bilibili Gaming, taking it 2-0. Once again, I'm Dom, this is Raz, and let's hop right on into what we just saw, because we had a jungle Riven, and Rusty said it himself.
Somehow.
It looked like TLP. We're looking for the old bamboozle, the old swapperoo from top to jungle.
Yeah.
But then didn't quite work as intended.
Well, no one should ever be able to predict that. That was pure luck, by the way. No one should predict the Riven jungle because it's nonsensical. It's one of those positions because we did see a lot of Riven, like for instance, Khan was able to pick it up in the LCK, and it's just one of the signature picks that you pick up the Riven up against the GP. You'd play it against in the lane. It makes sense for this team as well because TOP could play through top lane. Moyu, we already discussed that he's a carry top lane player, so you can give him the Riven, and you can get a proper jungler, maybe even a Rengar, because we know that XX would love to have the Rengar.
Yeah.
And they picked it on first phase. Rengar was only banned in second phase, so that's the option that they have. But they go for the Riven pick, so just like it was touched on within the game, just kind of talk about what you could do with the Riven pick. It was Spellbook. And you know what? Fierce was right. You don't get to see a lot of Spellbook users in the jungle. This was an opportunity that it was just like a Spellbook jungler just for that flash, stun, and look for the constant ganks, and you get to see a few of those.
Yeah, we saw one of them actually later in the team fights, the flash stun onto 3 people to try to follow up with a ton of damage, but of course it didn't start at that point. It started with attempted ganks from XX in the bottom lane.
And for the setup, just to discuss how this gank happened, it was based off of the fact that all of the vision control on the bot side of the map was actually in favor of BLG. Was in river, was in the red side jungle. There are 3 routes to get towards the bottom lane. 2 of them were covered with red side wards. Funny thing is, we already talked about Caitlyn has full control of pushing towards the bottom lane, so they allowed the control ward to kind of get Riven through the lane. And that was the only gank path that the Riven had to get it working. She commits to it twice. That was the second gank, and it finally works. So that was a really good play coming out of TOP, where their early game was really smart for them because they actually committed to that point.
The concern, though, is I think that this echoes a little bit of what we talked about in the the post game for game number 1, is that TOP are still looking at these low-hanging fruits. They found the kill, certainly, at least in that second gank, but they couldn't quite convert it into a turret. They can't quite convert it into a strong mid game.
Well, here's the thing, is that I thought that was a good kind of holistic play, because holistically, they want to get Riven actually snowballing.
Of course.
They want to get to a point where she's going into the later portions of the game with enough lethality, so when she goes for those plays, it's effective. But you're right, when she goes in for the flash 3-man stuns, she gets blown up immediately because the team fights are just not working for them. They were kind of far behind because how BLG, sure, that one gank worked, but BLG was able to take good control of that before that and after the fact.
All right, so Raz, you touched on a concept there. The holistic play was a good idea. Let's actually back it up and take a look at TOP holistically, because they are 0-7 right now. They're not doing great in the LPL. Longest loss streak in the history of the LPL. But they've got to have some good things going for them that they can continue to play with. What positives can we take away for this team?
Well, immediately, just from the last game that we saw, it seems like the one positive is that they are learning. And you have to start with the first step. The first step was kind of like that early game point that we were kind of hitting in game 1, but then game 2, it seems like they were kind of getting a lot better about playing slower paced. Riven sure was in a position where she was forced to play it slower. She was going up against an electrocute Kha'Zix, so you could see how the skirmishes were going. But Riven did honestly take that step back. That being said, if you are a team that is learning, I don't want to see that kind of, I would say, cheese in the jungle. I want to have them pick up more standardized junglers, pick up better, much easier compositions, and so they can actually get something more than just that kill.
Yeah, almost the keyword of the LPL, look for a little bit of consistency, perhaps. But then, as an ex-coach, say you were the head of TOP. They come back. They're 0-7. They're on the longest loss streak in LPL history. What do you do? Do you try to change up the roster? Do you try to get someone to be a more powerful leader in game? Is it in the draft? How do you revitalize this team? Because they are running out of time to pick up wins.
Well, that's a pretty big question. I would say immediately communication is a big one. I know we hear communication quite a bit when it comes to the likes of EDG and WE.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about EDG-esque or WES kind of communication. I'm just talking about the basics of trying to get every kind of lane in on the same page.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest problems in game 1 that we saw here was the fact that it was good communication from Ggoong and XX, and they were able to get the first kill onto the Sejuani to get XX back into the game. But then it was also bad communication when XX tried that once again and didn't know that the bot lane from his own team were nowhere nearby and was not going to help out in the play. So it's just one of those points of having all of the information ready for you, so when XX tries to kind of get plays going for himself, that it does convert into something.
So then how do you build this communication for the team? Is it just a bunch of karaoke nights to make sure everyone's all good and friends and they're actually talking to each other? Or is it just in-game play?
It's just practice. You have to practice. If your form of practice is going out into karaoke, you're done. No, legitimately, it just comes down through like scrim work and one-on-ones. If you feel as though that the team is not meshing together, then yeah, that is when the roster discussion does come in, defining some new blood. But they do have a 10-man roster, and so if the likes is bringing Phage into the support position, then that could be the discussion that you could have. We've been seeing them swap players, so that's something that they can continue to do.
Yeah, and this, especially when contrasted with our opponents in game number 1, or excuse me, in the series in BLG, it just shows so starkly the difference in communication. BLG, they're all on the same page. Athena is moving with his team. You're seeing AmazingJ with some incredible shot calling to lead them through these plays.
Yeah, and I want to go into one of the kind of footages of the team fights, because for me, the biggest point with BLG and when we saw their communication was one of the game-winning team fights around, let's say, the river area, where SKS was able to get a proper flank. We even saw the flash come through with Ryze to get a flank going for them. So in team fights, we talk about BLG's communication so frequently because it works so well for them once they get to that 20-minute mark.
Yeah, and of course that momentum allowed them to take the series 2-0, though. We've got our next set coming up in just a few minutes. It's FPX versus Invictus Gaming. We'll see you soon.